Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to Chatham House, and a particular welcome to our members who are watching and participating in all of this as it is streamed live on the Chatham House website. That means that we are actually going to be pretty disciplined in the course of this afternoon session. I'm going to ask you, when we have the discussion later on, to be as succinct and as brief as possible in your questions and contributions. Otherwise, I fear I'll be cutting you off in your prime, and we want as many of you as possible. This event today is part of a series of events to mark Aung San Suu Kyi's winning the Chatham House Prize of 2011 around the theme of democracy and human rights. And we couldn't have this afternoon a better interlocutor in that regard than Professor Muhammad Yunus. Not least because his whole life, as you all know, has been devoted to empowering and enfranchising the poor, recognizing that they can't be human rights without the right of all of us to participate in the economies of the countries in which we live. A pioneer, a Nobel laureate for his work on microfinance. He's also created a multi-billion-dollar Grameen group of social businesses which touch the lives of so many millions of poor people all over the world in markets that are all too often neglected by the mainstream banking and commercial sector. He's here today to receive a doctorate from LSE, and from those of us who are connected with that university one way or the other, that's a particular plus. And we are delighted, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, that you are able to be with us here this afternoon. And can I invite you to address us around the theme, social business, a way to solve society's most pressing problems. Dr. Yunus.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think I need here. I'm delighted to be here, and thank you for your kind introduction. And I've been hearing about Chatham House. I've never been to a Chatham House, so this is the first time. It's a wonderful experience. Briefly, I'll just give you an idea how I got started in what I do and why I did it. I was a teacher, just like any young teacher would do anywhere, teaching my class seriously in Bangladesh. But Bangladesh was going through a terrible situation at that time, mid-70s, famine in the country. We just came out of a liberation war and becoming a separate country in 1971. And we are still going through the euphoria that we'll create a beautiful country, everything will be solved. But instead, we were going down and we ended up with famine. So that's when you feel the emptiness of what you teach. I was teaching economics, that I see what I teach, all those elegant theories don't make any sense to people who are outside the classroom. So I thought instead of feeling rotten about it, I should make myself some way useful to people who are next door to the university campus in the village. So my ambition was to see whether I can make myself some way relevant to people who live there, even for one day, for one person. So while I was doing that, I did try little things, but I discovered a whole new world of people who live there, how they do, what kind of problems they face, which was quite unknown to me because economics make you have bird's eye view. You fly high and you think you see a lot, and you think you understood everything because you're seeing everything, and you fool yourself in that way. What I was doing, suddenly I felt I have a new kind of perspective. I have the worm's eye view. I see very closely, I see very clearly, I understand them, and problems didn't look as complicated as it looked from the sky. So I'm trying to make myself some way activated to do those tiny little solutions. And one thing came to my mind, my attention, is the loan sharking in the village. I'm sure you're familiar with the loan sharking everywhere, including the cities. But this was very pathetic because the tiny loans are given to the poor people, and literally their life is controlled by the person who gave you the loan. And their life is made miserable because of that. So I wanted to see how much money is involved, how many people are involved in that. I made a list. There are 42 names on that list, finally, when it's finished, who borrowed money. And the total money they borrowed was $27. I couldn't believe that people have to suffer so much for such a little money, because it was never taught in my classroom, in my textbooks or anything. So I thought for a while that kind of unkindness of the whole situation. Then I realized that I can solve this problem, at least in this particular case. All I have to do is to give this $27 to all these 42 people, ask them to return the money to the loan sharks, and they'll be free. Loan sharks cannot touch them anymore. I did that right away. I didn't expect the reaction, what it would be. I was doing it. I thought this is something needed to be done. I did it. But the sensation that it created in the village, they couldn't believe that somebody will do such a thing. So seeing this phenomenon, I asked myself, if you can make so many people so happy, why shouldn't you do more of it? So I thought I can do more of it. It's something so simple. And before that, I thought maybe I should continue to do this. Why don't I go to the bank to link the bank with the people? So that instead of going to the loan shark, you go to the bank and borrow the money. When I proposed it to the bank, he fell from the sky, the manager. He said, are you kidding me? Bank lending money to the poor people? Do you know who they are? I said, I know, I work with them. They will never pay back. I said, how do you know? So we had a long debate. He will not budge from his position. I will not budge from my position. It went on a long debate. It will let me to other higher officials in banking system. Everybody gave me the same answer. It cannot be done. So after months of trying, when I couldn't find a way to open it, I said, I'll be a guarantor. Your rule permits it. I'm offering myself to be a guarantor. I'll sign every single piece of paper you give me. I take the risk. You give the money. That took another couple of months to persuade them. Finally, they agreed, and I started signing papers, getting the money to the people, very small sum. And I came up with ideas how to make it easy for people to pay back. And they were paying back 100%. I had no problem. So that was the beginning, which later on became known as microcredit. The term didn't exist before 1976 when we began that. So it was, that word had to be invented, introduced in the language. And the other alternative name came microfinance to describe the same thing. And we created a bank out of it, Grameen Bank. Today it works all over Bangladesh. We have 8.3 million borrowers. 97% of them are women. Take tiny loans to start income generating activity and repay the loan week by week in weekly terms. And this is what microcredit is all about. It's wonders of wonders. People say, how do you do that? How can you get money from people who don't have any money? You lend money and they pay you back. It's a tough time to get the money out of the rich people, particularly in Bangladesh. It's very tough. The bigger you are, most likely you're the big defaulter. So how do you do that? I said, well, it's very simple for me. Whenever I needed a rule or a principle how to do that, I just look at the bank, because I don't know anything about banking. I just bumped into it. So I have no idea. So I look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once I learn it, I just do the opposite. It works out. They go to the rich, I go to the poor. They go to men, I go to women. 97% of our borrowers are women. They go to the city center, make a big office. We go to the remote village. We always work in the village. They asked for collateral. We said, what collateral? Poor people have no collateral. Why are you asking that? That question doesn't exist in this situation. So we dismiss collateral. Once you dismiss collateral, another thing happens. They have lots of lawyers in the conventional bank. We have no lawyers. Because what do you need lawyers for? Because you don't have papers. So we are the only lawyer-free bank in the whole world. and it works beautifully. Our payment is no problem. We are not the one who got into the collapsing situation in 2008 when the big banks were falling apart. And it's a very funny situation about the 2008 for me personally, because bank was explaining in 1976 that you cannot lend money to the poor people there because they are not creditworthy. In 2008, the same year, we started a program in New York City, call it Grameen America, to lend money to the poor in New York City. And it was working beautifully because we follow the same principle that we follow in the villages of Bangladesh. We have not compromised anything. But later in the year, we started in January, later in the year, financial crisis came. Big banks almost on the other side of the street are collapsing. This little bank, which started several months back, is flourishing. No problem whatsoever. I said, I wish some journalist here will be asking me now, who is creditworthy? I have a good answer for them. Look at them who are creditworthy. Compare both. So this is the mystery of banking. You don't know what you're talking about. So one by one, for example, it's a long list, I can go on, the differences between Grameen Bank and conventional bank. Conventional bank always want to know how much of experience you have in the business that you want to do with their money. You have to prove that you are an expert in that business. You know everything to convince them that you can run the business well. When we go to the women to tell her that we want to lend you money, would you be interested? She says, no way, I'm not interested. I don't know what to do with money. Give it to my husband. We train our staff. When you see a woman, when you talk about Grameen Bank, when she says, I don't know anything, please don't give me any money, I cannot handle money, you always know she's the one we are looking for. She says no, not because she doesn't know anything, because the answer that she gave no is not her voice. It is the voice of the history. History, what created her. For generations, she was being told she is no good. She is good for nothing. Only men can do things, not the women. So she's just responding as a person repeating the history, what she has been learned. She's packed with fears. That's what society has given her, the fears all around. So it's our job now that we found one, to kind of go peel off these layers and layers of fear that she's surrounded with, finally to let her emerge and kind of peep at the world and say, maybe I should try. And that's the moment we'll be waiting for. It took us 6 years to achieve 50-50 level, because our ambition was the number of men and number of women should be even. Because I've been critical about the banking system in Bangladesh, not even 1% of the borrowers happen to be women. So I said, this is totally unjust. So I wanted to make it a just system. And that took us 6 years. Then we saw money going to the family through women brought so much more benefit. Same amount of money going to the men in the family. You can write a book about it, books about it, how it's different. Then we said, why are we maintaining this 50-50 ratio? What is the meaning of that? Why don't we focus on women? Because that's where you make the biggest change in the family. So we started focusing on women. So as a result, many years back, we became 90%, 95%, 97%, and this is what Grameen is. When microcredit spread outside, like in New York City, we have 4 branches in New York City, about 6,500 borrowers right now, 100% women. In a country where it's illegal to discriminate on the basis of gender. We know that that's a legal requirement. We made our rules in such a way that we can get through this law. We said they don't come to us. It's often, but they don't come to us because of the way, the hurdles we create for them. That's it. So anyway, it's successful and it was being copied. We are asked to do it in Omaha, Nebraska. So we went there to open another branch in Omaha, Nebraska. And people got excited in Indianapolis. They said, we want that. Please come here. We'll give you all the money to run it. We went to Indianapolis, so we have another branch in Indianapolis. Now San Francisco and Detroit are waiting to open 2 other branches there. So this is the universality of the whole thing. It works in every circumstance because banking system is done in such a skewed way. It became some kind of an institution which is geared for the big guys and the big corporation, that's all. The real people kind of missed out of the whole system. If you go look at the globally, you will almost see 2/3 of the human population are not touched by the banking system. So it's only 1/3 system. So I said, why are we running around with 1/3 system, not doing it for the rest of the people? Is it because they don't need the money? The poor guy has as much ability as anybody else, simply doesn't have the first unit of money to start something on his own. So, but nobody gives them the first one. So I keep saying that to catch $1, you need $1. With an empty hand, you never catch $1. So somebody has to put this one or whatever dollar in the hand then so that she can go and make a living for herself and change her life and feel confident about it. So this is the microcredit scenario that we built up. Then people say, you are looking for the entrepreneurial poor. Only they can do it. I said, what is entrepreneurial poor? I thought everybody is entrepreneurial. No. They are entrepreneurial poor. Only then you'll be successful. I said, it never entered my mind to look for entrepreneurial poor. When I go to the woman, she said, I don't know anything. So I'm not looking for entrepreneurial poor. I train my staff to say, you are the one we are looking for. Because I believe all human beings are entrepreneurs. It's in the DNA of human being. That's how we survived on this planet. Suddenly you're saying that some people are entrepreneurs and others are not. Just because you want to serve the entrepreneur people, you make a class that they have to serve these people? I said, that's a wrong conception of human being. All human beings are packed with unlimited capacities, unlimited potentials. Simply, society never gave them a chance to bring it out. Like this woman that I was describing, that you peel off the layers and layers of fears so that she can come out. So that's all needed. I said, poor people are just like any other human being. They are not different human being. I give the example of bonsai tree. I said, take the seed of the tallest tree in the forest and plant it in a little flower pot, and it grew only this much. It doesn't grow more than that. And you wonder what happened, what's wrong with this seed? Nothing wrong with the seed. You didn't give the base to grow. That's why it came out like that. I said, poor people are bonsai people. There's nothing wrong with their seed. Simply, society never gave them the space to grow. If society had given the space, they will be as tall as anybody else. Their children will be as cheerful, as achievers as anybody else. There's nothing wrong within the human body, within the human system. So I keep talking about it, and as I go along, I wanted to demonstrate that they are entrepreneurs. So I started a program about 5 years back to lend money to the beggars. I said, you can't be poorer than beggars. The message we gave, the discussion that we have, as you go along, house to house begging, would you like to carry some merchandise with you? Some cookies, some candies, some toys for the kids as you visit the family? I said, you are going there anyway. It's not extra work for you. And they understood it right away. They said yes. So we started giving them loans. And they started going there, initially very shyly, talking about, I have something to sell, would you be interested? And became very popular. Everybody wanted to buy something from her because they know her as someone who always comes and begs for food, begs for money, and so on. Now she wants to sell. So everybody supports her. We thought we'll have 1,000 or 2,000 beggars in the program and test out whether even a beggar can be an entrepreneur. It became so popular, we ended up with more than 100,000 beggars in the program. And by now, more than 20,000 beggars have stopped begging completely. They are successful door-to-door salesperson. And some of them became very successful shopping agents because housewife cannot go to the market to buy something. She said, can you bring me something? This is it. Here's the money. You bring me something. So she brings it. She gets her cut. She gets a good business there. Others are on the way. They're doing. Some have taken the first loan, paid back the first loan, second loan, third loan, and so on. So you see the progress in that. So that, again, it gives a glimpse of human being, what they can do. Given an opportunity, all we did, just open a possibility that you can borrow money, add this business along with the other business. So now, those who are not closing down their begging division yet, they want to make comfortable that, yes, this is a new business that we have, does very well for us, and so on. So they will go through this testing and come to that. I have been looking at problems as it comes and try to see how to solve it. And now looking back, I see, whenever I see a problem, my instinctive reaction is to create a business to solve the problem. So I keep on creating businesses. As I see a problem, I create a business to solve the problem. In the process, I have created many, many, many companies. And people say, you must be a very rich man. You have so many companies. I said, no, I don't have, I'm not a rich man. I'm just a guy that I always was. Then you have, what do you do with all those companies? I said, I don't own any single share of one of these companies because I never intended to make money out of those companies. That's not the purpose of those companies. Purpose of the company was to solve problems. Then I realized this is a kind of business which is missing in the world. I said, when you look at the poor person, you ask yourself, why there is poverty? Is it because the people don't want to work, they're illiterate, they're just ignorant, and that's why they're poor? Every time you see this woman that you meet in the village, you talk to her, what she does with the money, you realize it is not her who is responsible for the poverty. It's not she who is responsible for poverty. It is the system which is responsible for the poverty. Poverty is not created by the poor person. Poverty is created by the system we built. Concepts that we have introduced to ourselves. And we feel so glorified that we have such a beautiful system, so enormous, intricate system that we built. It's fantastic. It's not. That's what created all this problem. Poverty is externally imposed phenomenon. It's not internally created phenomenon. So once you see it's externally created, then you go around, fix that up. If you fix up your system, there'll be no poor people because there is nothing wrong in the person. So I look at it, what are the things which is going wrong? And I identified the banks as an institution, just as an example. I said, look at the bank. They said it cannot be done. You cannot lend money to the poor people. And that's why you created all this. Now, after 35 years and all over the globally is running without any problem, what do you have to tell? Why can't you extend yourself to cover everybody? Why can't you create an inclusive banking system? Nobody talks about that. So I said, this is where we go wrong. We create institutions, we create problems, but we don't want to touch it anymore. And I talk about the institutional framework, conceptual framework. Conceptual framework is, look at the way we have designed the economic framework. In that economic framework, we assumed all that human beings will do in business, they will make money. So money making is the mission of the business. And not only we say that, we go a little bit further. We say maximization of profit is the mission of the business. Go one step higher than that. I said, it's a misrepresentation of human being in the economic interpretation of human being. Because human beings are not kind of a robot-like being that all you do make money. Not a single-dimensional being. Human beings are multidimensional beings. Making money is only one dimension. What about the other dimension? Theoreticians pick the one aspect, selfishness among us. We all have selfishness element in us for our self-preservation. And build the whole theory of economics on top of it. Forget that we have other dimensions, such as selflessness. I keep repeating that every human being is a combination of selfishness and selflessness. At least you pay attention to the selfless part of it when you are designing this big edifice of theoretical framework. Economists' reaction is, no. If you want to be selfless, you want to do good for others, you step out of the world of business. you become a philanthropist. I said, I'm not talking about being a philanthropist. I'm talking about business. I want to be inside that business world and express my selflessness. How do you do that? I said, well, unknowingly I have done that. I have created all these companies, not for myself, to solve problems. We can build businesses on the basis of that principle, on the basis of selflessness, and I started calling them social business. This is a business not for making money for the owners. This is a business to solve intricate problems that we face every day in a business way. What's wrong with it? It's a non-loss, non-dividend company to solve problems. Investor, over time, can take back the investment money, nothing more than that. Not because government has said that or somebody has made it a rule. No, you decided this is what you do. So you can have two businesses. One is a profit-making business. You make money, just like anybody else. But then you also have a social business. You want to solve problems. In profit-making business, everything is for me. So the center of attention is me in the profit-making. In social business, the focus is on others. Everything is for others, nothing for me. And I enjoy it. I said, making myself happy by making money is good. I'm not opposed to that. But you're depriving yourself another happiness. Happiness which comes by making other people happy. That's an enormous happiness. But you deprived us because you don't get a room, you don't get a door in your theory so that I can do that and enjoy that happiness. I said, I want to open the door for happiness. Nobody cared. Oh, how can you do that? Without profit, nobody will be interested in it. I said, I was interested in it. How can you say nobody is interested? I said, if you put it in your textbook, young people will be discussing, what should I do when I grow up? Should I be in profit-making business? Should I be in social business? If I'm doing social business, what is the problem that I would like to solve in a business? How do I design that business to solve that? This would be part of their growing up process. And the universities, in business schools, there'll be two departments giving MBAs. Today's MBAs, you train young people so that they can go out, work very hard so that the shareholders of the company can make a lot of money because you work for them. That's all you do. And you get a salary good enough, you enjoy yourself. But you are dedicated to somebody else, somebody making money. I said, that is MBA is fine. I'm not opposed to that. Why don't we have another department giving social MBAs, make a degree of social MBA? You learn how to create business to solve problems. Your everyday exercise in the classroom is which problem you're looking for, how do you design it, compete with each other. My design is better than yours, and I get a better grade because I have a better solution for that. And in a business way, money comes back. And people say, oh, we do it in the charity way all the time. I said, there's a difference between charity and business. In charity, money goes, does the job, it never comes back. If you can transform into business, social business, money goes, does the job, and come back. And you use the money again and again. You recycle the same money endlessly. It is a self-propelling machine when you build a business. It's a sustainable thing. That gives you enormous capacity. Luckily, something happened. It made the issue clearer a little bit. I had a chance meeting with the chairman of a multinational company called Danone. It's a French-based company. During discussion, I said, why don't we have a company built jointly in Bangladesh? He agreed right away. Then I said, I'm not finished yet. He said, what else? I said, it will be a social business. He says, what is a social business? So I gave him a big spiel about social business. He again shook hands and said, I agree. Then I realized that probably he didn't understand my Bangladeshi English that I'm talking. Or I didn't understand his French English, so we got lost on the way. So I was on the way to attend another conference in Deauville, a women's conference. So on the way, I sent a long email to him, summarizing what we discussed and what we do. He immediately and gave him a chance to say that, no, this is not what I said, you misunderstood me, so that you feel free to correct me impression. Immediately, I understood every word. Everything you said, I agree with it. Let's go ahead, do it. This was 2005. And that company was created in 2006. We went into production in 2007. Today, we produce that product for 4 years. This is dedicated to solve the problem of malnutrition among the children of Bangladesh. Bangladesh has 160 million people. Half the population of Bangladesh under the age of 21 is the median age. So you can see how many children there are. And almost half of them are malnourished. 46% of the children of Bangladesh are malnourished. So there are many efforts going on. Some work, some doesn't work. So we said, let's concentrate on this issue because it's the future of the country. If you're malnourished, you're physically stunted. If you're malnourished, you're mentally stunted. All the money you put in education doesn't get there because they cannot catch whatever you're doing. So you need to get the receiving part well so that you catch it and grow. So we concentrated on that. What we did, we produced a special kind of yogurt because Danone is a yogurt expert. So we gave them this task. Why didn't you produce a yogurt which will solve this problem? How? They decided, and we all decided, that we'll put all the micronutrients which are missing in the children into this yogurt. Vitamin, iron, zinc, iodine, and everything. And make it very delicious. And Danone knows how to make things delicious, particularly yogurt. So it really did it. And we started selling this yogurt. Children love it. They eat it. And make it very cheap so that even the poorest child can afford it. And make a marketing system where poor people can access. Because if you put it in the store, poor people don't go to the store buy anything. So we bring it to the doorstep. Children follow the person who is carrying this yogurt because he wants to work. Mom, I want yogurt. So they like it. And now it's happening. Malnutrition. Studies show that the nutrition level is improving among the children who are taking it. So this is all dedicated to that particular purpose, not making money for Danone, not making money for Grameen. We are all legally bound not to take any profit out of this company. We can take back the investment, whatever we have done, and that's it. That's a social business. Now we talk about, now many other companies came, let me see. Many other companies came to do the social business. We have social business with Veolia to produce water in Bangladesh, and Adidas to produce shoes affordable to the poorest person who go barefoot. We challenged them to produce shoes under €1. They were shocked. Adidas shoes under €1. He said, this is a big task. I said, Adidas is a big company. Why do you want a small task? You should be proud of doing the big task. And they took the challenge. What, 2 years? Produced that shoes. Now it's being marketed. So we have series of Uniqlo, Grameen Uniqlo, and so on. So what I'm saying, all these things that happens to us, all the crises, all the problems that we have ended up with, is because we went wrong in designing the system. It's a design fault that when you step down in the staircase, you always stumble. It's not the fault of your step. Somebody miscalculated one step, and you stumble every time you go through that. So this is what is happening. I said, all these crises put together is a giant wake-up call. But we don't want to wake up. We are just looking for the clock to stop it. Come on, don't scream. And we want to sleep. And that is what is. You can go back to sleep. We can fix it. We can stop the alarm. But for a while. It will keep on, and then it will explode. I said, we are coming to the end of our civilization. This is what it's doing. We need a different kind of civilization where we will not have all these things that we created. It is our mess. We have now all the information, all the ability to redesign the whole system. A system where there will be no poor person because it's not in the person. A system where nobody will be called an unemployed person. What is this unemployment? Able-bodied human being with creative power, unlimited power, remain totally unutilized? Is this a civilization that we are bragging about? Does it make a sense? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a total wastage. And we carry on, it's only 9%, it's only 5%, it's only 50%. Let's go ahead, we'll fix it. What happened to those 50%? or 5% or 1%. They are human beings on this planet. Because of your screwed up system, I have to suffer. I'm capable. I want to work. You can find a way to make this work. And you blame me for that. You're an unemployed person. I feel ashamed that I'm an unemployed person. Why should I feel ashamed? Is it my fault? So we have to go back and design. This is the system we built, so that our successes will be great, like we have now. But the present civilization, our failures are so gigantic. We couldn't fix anything. Poverty, unemployment, diseases, environment, and you name it, which we keep tossing around all the crises. I said, we have to scrap that system. It's not a question of band-aids. It is total question of redesigning, recreating a new civilization. That's what we have to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.